of your questions was how often do we spell our horses, and what does a week of work look like for them, and how does their year go? It's a beautiful time of year in Australia. It's just about spring and they're all losing their coats. So how we basically run it is that the horses work on a Monday. They'll have a little lunge in a lunging system and just have a good stretch, or go for a walk in the paddock. Tuesday they get exercise and just loosened up and sort of infuse some real positive energy, like here comes the week. Wednesday we train generally whatever test riding we've been doing, so she would run through the elements of the Grand Prix that need strengthening. Thursday they go out for a big like a gallop, or they'll do poles and jumps in the arena. Friday they do test work, and Saturday we call it our touch base day. So we just touch base with anything they've been finding a little more difficult, give them a pat and then take them for a walk. As far as spelling goes, we say that the horses never spell until Christmas, and the Christmas is where bikinis are our uniform and we drink margaritas all day. However, during the week, so they spend about 65% of their time out in the paddock. But a couple of weeks ago, she actually started to say that she had a sore SI. So here, she's a Grand Prix horse now. I love saying that. So she actually became sore all through her pelvic region. So we gave her, because the demands of Grand Prix were a lot, so she had 2 weeks off. And then last week I got COVID, and so I feel awful. And then this week is state championships, which she's not going to because I didn't feel like she was strong enough. So she's actually having a month off, and that happens quite a lot during the year, where I'll just say, I think it's important, this horse feels tired, this horse doesn't feel happy in the work, and I'll not necessarily spell them, but I'll change tack and just take them for walks, or give them gentle lunges, or just pull them out and give them a curry comb and a green pick. So we just let the horses tell us when they need spelling, but they're big horses and they have heavy bone, and of course they work hard, so do we. So it's really important that you keep your horses strong. So we use the Greg Andrews, it's called the Equine Lunging System, and it just sits up over the horse's back. Wow, we really are losing some coat. How gorgeous. Then we come between the front legs. Ready? Oh, she's eating the lunge line. Right, and you see I've just dropped the lunge line. She's a Grand Prix horse. I could lunge her without even a head collar or anything on if I wanted to. In fact, we do sometimes. But normally I would keep this in my hand. So I should be a little more professional, shouldn't I? And you shouldn't eat it while you're being filmed or anything. You're supposed to be, all grown up now. So you can see she's going to be lunged in a halter. And tomorrow I'll show you one that we lunge in the bridle, but probably 10% of the horses I do lunge in a halter, they just prefer it if she has a tricky mouth. So that is starting to look a little bit too short. So you just run, they're a running knot, so you just run them out a little bit longer. When you adjust them, it's really, really important that you adjust them so that when they're standing still, at the horse's nose in the front of the vertical. If you adjust them behind the vertical, you actually won't achieve anything except to make the horse tight. So the idea is that as the horse is lunging around, they're loosening their back, and you're getting a longitudinal stretch. So you're getting a stretch all the way from the tail up and through. So I'll give you a little demo. Walk on, Rennie. Rennie, and see, I'm just moving to her girth point. So it's like I've got her in a little V. So her nose is the front of the V, her point of buttock is the back of the V. Most horses are lunged with a whip, but Ren is a firecracker and she most definitely doesn't need a whip. My goodness, I wish I could get rid of this COVID. If you guys have got any hints, tell me in the comments on how you get rid of it. But I think also another part of lunging is you get to stand back and see a beautiful horse. Nothing has to be perfect. You don't have to do 15 steps of piaffe. You don't have to make a perfect trot to canter. You can just be with them. Enjoy your beautiful horse. Come. Trot. Come. Good girl. She's too busy watching my Frenchie coming up out of the bushes over there. Right, and the amount of time you lunge them is completely up to you and each horse. So she's just having a little lunge today because otherwise tomorrow when I have a little sit on her, I just find her really tight. She just doesn't feel happy. But 10 minutes on the lunge today and she'll have had a little shake off and a bit of a play. Good girl. This is very like Ren to have lots of head tossing and fun out here. But I think the main thing for you as trainers to remember is that the responsibility of your horse being happy and loose in their work and finding harmony with you as a rider is a lot about their actual fitness and soundness. And so you know, if I didn't feel well today, if I didn't work her today, then tomorrow she's a little fresh and then she's a little too tight. You know, if you're studying and have exams, this is just a great way to get out in nature, and you keep building muscle so your horse's muscles don't fall apart, because obviously horses, or humans as well, our muscles don't fall apart at the rate that we build them. You know, it takes years to build up the muscle, it takes months for the muscle to go. So just a little bit of work every day, even if you're not feeling well. And I think, you know, from a human standpoint, it's great just to get out here and have a little bit of sunshine. I won't do very much. I already feel like having a lie down. Good, good. You can see when she slows down, I don't race her back off again. I just let her just keep mooching along. If she accidentally walks because I keep her too steady, that's okay. I just ask her to trot again. She would love to be doing extended trot or galloping everywhere with her tail in the air, but over the years we've just gradually taught her that on the lunge you just mooch around. This will do just as good as a big working trot, just letting her just, say we wanted to have a bottom like a big Italian housewife. So if you're an Italian housewife, I'm sorry if that's offensive, but we think it's a good thing. We like it to really swing from side to side. Good girl. When I want her to canter, just give her a little voice aid, increase a bit of activity first. Up, Rennie. Up. Good girl. Ah, atta girl. Good. And after many years in the lunging system, if we want to, up, we can get the same result with it on or with it off. Oh, good girl. But for us, it's a little bit the same as when we were raising our daughter. She would like to have eaten chicken nuggets and chocolate every day, but we insisted that she had chicken breast and broccoli instead because it's better for her. So Ren would love to run around with her tail over her back, wouldn't you? But we need her to have a strong back. We don't want her to load one leg more than the other by running around like a motorbike. So it's really important that the horses work in a balanced way all the time, because you need to practice what you want to produce in the ring. And it's fun to go out for gallops and jumps and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day I want to build the muscles that I'm going to rely on when I go out to compete. So I always make sure I don't know about all the frolicking that Ren's doing there, but I try to make sure that the horses, even on the lunge, are going in a nice rhythm, not such a forward rhythm. I like them to just mooch along, but I like them to go in a rhythm. I like them to have good manners. I do find that a little bit of lunging every now and then helps their ground manners. And of course it shows your grooms have to lead them around without getting trampled. They've got to actually perform in a trot up as well. So their ground manners are really, really important. So I hope that helps, guys. That's pretty much how we run our horses' lives, which is that they run our lives. Take it easy. So today we have Sonic Hit, we call him Sonny, and we're very lucky we have the privilege of training him for some beautiful people. Hey Greg.
Hey guys.
Can you tell us a bit of the history of your equine evolution, the training aids that you've set up? So for instance, your lunging system, tell us the psychology behind when you designed those.
Well, the idea was to try and give a horse freedom when they're lunging still, and to try and get that beautiful longitudinal stretch that Shell's always talking about she wants in her horses. And so what we looked at is the conventional side reins, of course, you know, they're there or there, wherever you set them on your rollers or whatever it might be, but it doesn't give you much real movement up or down. What I liked about the ropes when we looked at those and how we designed them was it actually, I mean, we can stop the horse getting up higher, but what it does do is allows the horse to get down, still put his nose on the ground. So quite often you'll see these horses come out from the arenas and they've actually got sand on their muzzles where they've been getting down that long and low. So we can actually, when you look at him now, he can stretch right down through as far as he wants. But what it also does, he actually activates these ropes a little bit while he's working. So if you watch him when he's jogging around, you'll actually see the ropes just quietly working.
Just the rhythm of his front legs.
Just the rhythm of his front legs just working quietly.
But can you guys see how they're adjusted, that the horse is clearly with his nose in front of the vertical, he's having sleep in the sun. So you don't want to adjust it. So Greg, show them what a vertical line is and a behind the vertical line. So a vertical line, guys, meaning his nose, right? You don't want it behind that vertical there. Okay, so if you see Greg's just sliding that rope.
How does that look there?
That's still okay, but it's starting to get tight. So just show Greg, if you can just with your hand, show a nose that's on the vertical. So just as for the young kids that are watching it. So guys, that's your vertical line. If you can just show that, Greg, and show what a vertical line is with the nose.
basically we're looking at something that's, you know, totally vertical off the line, so 90 degrees off your ground level.
Okay, now show us in front of the vertical. Just, I know it sounds a bit simple to you guys that know what a vertical line is, but sometimes
He can stretch out there nicely, so he's in front of the vertical, so his vertical line would be there. So he's about 3 or 4 inches in front.
And now show us behind the vertical.
Now if we look at a horse that's rounded up too much, good boy.
I think everybody in dressage knows what that is these days. He doesn't even know how to do it. There you go. That's behind the vertical, guys. So when you adjust your ropes, if your horse is there, Greg, just show us how you let the rope out for us.
We just slide. It's very simple slide knot.
Okay.
That we've made. It won't slide by itself when the horse is working. It stays in position. And of course we've got our lunge lead back through the bit, back to our girth to give us that inside rein feel.
Because the ropes don't adjust the flexion, which I actually like. I like my horses to have freedom in the flexion, so it tells me if I've got a correct body shape and that my horse is actually really supple. If he lunges correctly with a correct flexion to the inside, then I know everything is good. I don't pull his head to the inside. His body should just follow the line. But because this guy's young, he's got to learn for his body to follow the line. So Greg just plays a little bit with that inside rein on the lunge line, just to help him make sure. Yep. And you see, this is the next point I was going to tell you. See how he's over flexing. So one of the reasons that I'm showing him to you, yesterday we showed your horse being done in a halter. The reason that Sonic is done in a bridle is he had a super soft mouth. So when we put the bridle in, he wanted to just drop the bit. Since the day that he was first broken in, he just wanted to drop the bit, go behind the vertical with his mouth wide open. He had just the softest, most beautiful mouth. So it was a really big job to teach him to take a contact that made his mouth happy. So you can see we've got a new Shula bit in there, which is actually is able just to take contact on that doesn't bother him. The mouth's lovely and quiet. Both nose bands you can easily fit. I like to fit at least 4 fingers under my nose bands. And guys, if you feel like you want to tighten the nose band to problem solve, find another way to problem solve, because that's not it. Good, he's a good boy. So he's 4. And most of our 4-year-olds have a 5-minute lunge before we get on. Just show us a canter transition, Greg. So I decide when to hop on my 4-year-olds when they can make a really nice trot to canter, maintain the canter, and then listen to come back to the trot. So again, Greg, good. So you saw he had a tiny little frolic there, so that shows he's still a little bit tight. And then that one was really lovely, but you can see he's just still pulling against the inside rein connection a little bit there. So Greg will just quietly keep going until that trot to canter is completely seamless, because it's not fair to a young horse if they want to have a buck, you know, and have a play and they're just a little tight, to put a rider on top. So we will often just give them a little trot canter trot just before we hop on, usually by let's say Thursday, so they get worked gently on Monday, just a lunge. They get exercise Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday they do poles. By Thursday, Friday, you shouldn't generally need to lunge them unless you've got one that's a bit of a bronco, which I've had plenty of those. I've had some horses that need a 5-minute lunge until they're 7 years old before you hop on. But the groundwork is a way of really getting to know your horses and understanding what they need and really learning to read them. So if he wasn't lovely and calm with the tail swinging like this, I'll just give him a few more minutes on the lunge. Sometimes I'll even just pop a halter over the bridle and let them just have a play, like a real play if they're really quite bronky. We don't encourage them to buck, but as long as they're having fun and they're not being naughty and pulling us all over the arena, I don't mind if they want to have a little play. They're only young ones. You're very welcome to ask me questions. Follow us on Instagram and I can answer your messages there as well. Oh, he is still fresh. But we're always open to help everybody. Our motto is that when you get, you give, and we have a lot of information and we're happy to give it to you. So ask away. So guys, I hope that was helpful.
And for any of our training aids, just check out the links below. And if there's anything you would like to see in our videos, just put it down in the comments and we can check it out and see what we want to do.
And you can also see below the links to all our socials, which is a little bit more about our horses' competition lives. And there's also a link to our website, which is a really great interactive platform with live Zooms and a very wholesome approach to our training system.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.